One thing couples struggle with a lot is repairing and rebuilding trust once it's been broken, right? Whenever one person's done that thing that really shakes the other person's core and shakes the foundation of trust for the relationship, it is so hard to get back on that saddle for so many people. And that's mainly because at all the things people try, there's only one true method of rebuilding trust in a relationship that I've come to learn is most effective as a coach that coaches many couples and relationships and married couples and so forth, right? And before I get into that method, I just want to touch on some of the pitfalls and reasons why people don't move forward. And without guessing or pulling up a lot of examples of the ineffective way they try to approach handling rebuilding trust, right? Let's just call out some of the common culprits that keeps trust in the waste bucket instead of something that you can pull out and start to repair, which is not being able to put the past behind you, not leaving what happened where it was and moving forward where we're going to go and what we're going to do. Or, using what happened as a weapon to where now when new disagreements or arguments come up down the road, one person is pulling out, oh, see, this is just like when you did that, right? Or I guess this is the same thing that did happen when that happened, right? Or, oh, yeah, I bet you would say that. It's just like whenever you did X, Y, Z, right? And then it becomes this thing that never can be at rest or at peace. And it continues to live on presently in your relationship going forward. And this kind of stuff happens because the method or the approach to try to repair things was way too ineffective, right? Just to, oh, I'm sorry, and I'm never going to do it again. And then we move along, or the other person says, you know what, I'm just going to let this one go and keep moving forward. Just does not work whenever the stakes are high enough, whenever it's an impactful enough thing that really struck the other person to the core, or was a big enough act for the other person that did it to do. It's just not enough to say, I'm sorry, I'm never going to do it again, I'm going to do better. Or to just say, oh, I'm just going to let it go past me, because where that sounds great, it lacks the substance required for it to be stood on, right? It's like on one end, the person that broke the trust is not showing some sort of a regimen to make sure they don't wind up back in the same bucket. And then the person forgiving is not necessarily dealing with the fallout of what happened, right? And really processing that to where it can sit there and stew. And that's the way it comes out of you whenever the right argument down the road comes up. And now you're calling them out and saying, well, it's just like we did X, Y, Z. And now your partner's thinking that's behind you guys and feeling like, oh, now they're being put on the hot seat. They're the bad guy forever now because of that one mistake they made. And they feel like they can't, ever shake it or let it be put behind them. It keeps being thrown in their face. Or the person that committed the act, right, is now slipping back into old patterns or the same habits again, or showing signs that they may do the same thing again, which shakes again the foundation and core of their partner feeling safe and secure, right? And then everything, all hell breaks loose at that point. So if you're going to repair and rebuild your trust best, the method goes as this. First and foremost, the person that should be championing and being most proactive in this situation is the person that violated the trust in the first place. The person that broke it should be the one taking the first steps to repair it, right? And the way you go about doing this, if you're the one that has broken the trust, is accountability first. You have to own your ish. Whatever you did, you have to make no excuses for it and just take accountability, right? Own it and then be responsible for what you're owning and what you're going to do about it, right? So the first step is accountability. That means acknowledging to your partner what you have done and apologizing for it. Genuinely and authentically apologizing. Not something lackluster. Not you just going through the motions. No, your heart has to be in it. Your partner needs to feel that you were serious about this, right? But it doesn't just stop there. After you take accountability comes the next piece. You have to give vulnerability, meaning substance. Explain the reason, the core root as to why you did what you did. This is so important. See, Even the most apologetic people that apologize for something they've done to someone else that matters to them in their life doesn't provide the secureness and reassurance that their partner wants or that that person needs just off of the I'm sorry, because that doesn't give the other person any insight in depth as to why it happened in the first place, so they can find some ground to start feeling reassured in you again, right? Because you can be sorry till the cows come home, but still plan or have the mentality to do what you did again, right? So it's very important that not only that you take accountability, but then you also give vulnerability and give substance as to the core as to what drove you to do what you did, right? Give some clarity behind your actions. Because see, it's rarely the action that's the true root of the problem. It's the motivating force behind the action, right? But so often we get caught up on the tangible experience that we saw or got, that we fail to or don't care to or don't try to look into what's the motivating piece behind it, because that's the part that needs to be adjusted. That needs to be addressed most, right? Don't focus so much on the output, focus more on the headspace someone got into and why to get there, right? And so what you're going to do if you're the person that has broken the trust is you're going to explain what needs or need you were trying to get met in what you did that broke the trust, right? Meaning you're going to explain either how or why you were trying to feel reassured yourself or safe and secure, or how you're trying to find a sense of newness and freshness, maybe excitement in your life, or how you were trying to maybe feel loved, right? Maybe you didn't feel loved enough in your relationship, or how you were trying to feel like you matter, like you were special. You wanted to feel important, or maybe you wanted to feel like you were growing in some way and for whatever you did, or you felt like you didn't have a sense of like purpose and doing this thing helped you do that. Now, it's usually not going to be one of those two last ones where you were trying to grow or trying to feel like you had purpose. That's usually less likely, but it's possible. But the main point is you have to get clear on which of those needs or which ones of them you were trying to get met through this act that broke the trust, and convey that to your partner on top of your apology. Because doing this is going to give your partner some clarity to understand, okay, this wasn't just you trying to do something harmful to me. It wasn't just you just trying to disrespect me or not be trusting or trustworthy, right? It wasn't you just trying to, get one over on me, to be this bad guy and do this attack on me. Oh no, you were struggling with something, right? It helps paint more of the human in you instead of you just being this bad person, right? Now, whenever you explain what needs you're trying to get met, comes to the next stage, right? Which is you have to explain why you felt or believed you couldn't get those same needs or need met in the relationship with your partner, right? What was it that was going on in your relationship that made you feel you couldn't get it met with your partner? Now, I want to be really careful here. This is just to give clarity as to why you went ahead and went through with the act off of the need you were trying to get met, but it is not to become an excuse for your actions by pushing it on your partner because maybe there's something you didn't think you can get from them, because it's on you to communicate more effectively that you can't get it from them so that you can get it from them if there's something that you need, or it's on you to make a decision to walk away if you're learning you really need these things and they are proving to you that they can't offer it or don't want to offer it, right? So that's always on you. But it's just giving clarity as to where your headspace was so they can wrap their mind around it. Now, after you've done that, then comes the last piece on your side. And it's kind of a two-part, which is stating what you're going to do about it going forward to ensure this never happens again. What is your action step? Be proactive about what are you going to do? What is your, a corrective course of action, I like to call it, right? So first, taking accountability, vulnerability, we're apologizing, right? And we're also saying what we're going to do going forward to not let this be a thing again. Now, the second piece, coupled with that last part of what your action steps going to be, is you have to pull your partner into it now. You have to seek what they need in order to heal and rebuild the trust with you, what they would need from you, because it's not all about what you're going to do. You have to make sure it's what they actually need in order to feel like they can trust you again. And this, at this point, this is where I'm also going to throw in there. It shifts over to the person that has been violated, where the trust has been broken with, because rebuilding trust is not all about the person that broke the trust and doing all of the work. It doesn't work that way. Actually, it takes both sides. So just as much as the person that broke the trust needs to be able to come and say, hey, here's what I'm going to do going forward to make sure it doesn't happen again, and wants to repair things, they should be asking their partner, hey, what do you need in order to trust me again? But just as much they need to ask that, your partner that has been violated needs to be proactive also in saying what they need, or at least responding and offering that up. Because see, here's the thing. So often someone wants their partner to make it right, fix it, prove to me I can trust you again. But they're not really looking for reasons and ways to trust their partner again. They're looking for reasons and ways to catch them again and call them out again and, stake them to the cross again, right? Like, gotcha. So if you're really going to actually rebuild trust and be able to truly move on from a situation, you have to get clear on what it looks like in practice when your partner is being trustworthy to you again. What you need to see now in this season where you're still repairing to where maybe it's different than what it would be normally if they didn't violate the trust, right? So what redemption steps do you need to see in practice that makes you feel, okay, I can start trusting my partner again, right? What's it need to look like consistently? And then after you get past that for a while, what's it look like in general when your partner's being trustworthy? And see, this is the difficult piece here. Because so often people get stuck at this because they just feel hurt. They feel the void of the trust, right? They feel the letdown that their partner didn't show up for them or that they did them wrong or what have you. And they get so fixated on that they never get clear on, okay, that's how we got here. But how do we get out of here? What's it look like to me? What fits me right? What makes me feel good that would get us out of this bucket of not being able to trust each other anymore, right? How do I believe in my partner again? You have to make that decision on your own. Nothing your partner can say or do will help with that or will build that trust if you don't get clear on whether their actions or whatever they're planning to do or what you need them to do is what is required for you to actually be able to trust in them again. Now, let me add this in when you're explaining what you need to trust in them again, right? Just like the partner that broke the trust needs to go and be vulnerable and express why they did what they did, you have to be vulnerable as well and express what your partner's actions meant to you. It's important for your partner to hear what their actions actually signified inside of you, because it helps give them more insight beyond what you tell them what you need in order to rebuild the trust into being able to offer something more accurate to rebuild trust with you so that you can see the things you need to see and so they can be who they need to be for you and for themselves, right? So it's important to really process and digest what they did meant to you, right? And notice, it's important to do this not only for the sake of the conversation, for your partner to hear, but it's important for you to consciously think of this so you can get clear on what that means to you, so you can have a better refined answer for what you need to see going forward to trust them again. It's really hard to be clear and concise on what you need moving forward if you haven't even processed what happened meant to you, right? So it's important for your partner to hear it, and then from that to tell them what you need in order to get back on the saddle. And now let me say this, and this is a difficult piece, right? So if you've been the person that's been violated, the trust has been broken with you, and you're the one that's been offended, right? This might be hard to embrace in a time where you feel like it's just your partner that needs to do things to make this right. You have to be willing to embrace what your partner is saying about why they felt they couldn't come to you to get their needs met, right? You have to embrace that you may have a role in their headspace they got into to go do what they did. It's not your fault for them choosing to go break the trust, but you very much could and can have contributed to, and most likely, or usually we do, right? Usually people don't just go deciding to step outside their relationship or go do something that doesn't, honor their relationship intentionally, just to go be a bad guy, right? I want to live on the wild side. No, they usually do it when they feel I can't go to my partner, or from what they say to me and with how they act, I don't think I can go to them, so I need to go this way to get my needs met and still keep them. because they actually do love you. They just don't want to lose you, but they also want to be happy, right? So you have to be able to embrace after you said, hey, this is what you did meant to me. Here's what I need to get back on the right saddle. But then also embrace what they're saying contributed to them getting that headspace. What could you adjust going forward as well to help them feel reassured that they won't ever have to even get in that headspace again, right? It doesn't put any blame on you for the trust being broken, but if you're going to get back to a place to where you guys are both happy and healthy, you have to be willing to offer what they need if it aligns with you, right? And so if you notice, the plan of trust rebuilding is a two-way street. It's what the person that offended the situation has done and what they're going to, do going forward. Their apologies, their accountability for it, their vulnerability and why they did it, and then what they're going to do to rebuild things, but also what they need to not get back in that space and what the person that's been offended is willing to do to help with that. And also explaining what they need in order to trust that person again, right? And then all that brings about the last step, which is both partners has to offer grace, right? The person that has broken the trust needs to offer grace to the person that has been offended to heal, right? And not think they're going to just be rainbows and gumdrops with you overnight. Give them their time to heal, right? It's a process. And just as much as the person that has been offended needs to offer grace to the person that broke the trust, right? To allow them time to prove that they can really turn things around or truly forgive them and give them the space and to actually redeem themselves. Don't let them be coming from, a deficit to where now they got to prove that they're just a decent person again. Then they got to go all the way to the next level, right? Because when that's the case, it makes it so much harder for it to be a healthier process to rebuild that trust. And if anything, more oftentimes that makes someone resentful. Even though your partner did something to break the trust, they can easily become resentful towards you because they feel like now they're treated like they're less than or like they're less of a good person than you because of this one act that they did. So quick recap. If you're the offender, you need to apologize with accountability, vulnerability, give a proactive plan for what you're going to do, and then seek what your partner needs to trust you again, and then offer grace to them to go through the healing process to get back there with you. And if you're the person that's been offended, you need to explain what happened meant to you, describe what you need to see to begin trusting again going forward, and make your declaration of what you would like to offer to the equation to help your partner to not feel the things they felt to get back in that space again. And then you offer grace to offer them time to rebuild that trust with you without keeping them too much in the deficit, like they're coming from being a bad person to get back to being a normal person. Then you're going to accept their trust down the road, right? Give more grace to allow more fair redemption space. If you and your partner need help executing this method and really working through this process to rebuild trust in your relationship, however it was broken, email or DM me the word coaching and we'll get the work as long as you're truly ready to put the work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the time or the space, then email or DM me the word revival to join my Relationship Revival Hub community, where you can learn the same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace on your own time. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.